Ion here. I have not made a video in over a year, and I have not made a non-Minecraft video ever. So this is going to be the first one. And today we're going to be playing Fallout New Vegas Unarmed. Fallout New Vegas has 5 main types of weapons: guns, energy, explosives, melee, and unarmed. And even though one of the classes is named unarmed, we're not going to use a single weapon in this video. This is going to be Fallout New Vegas with only my fists. Meet today's beautiful protagonist, Fisto. For my special stats, I took 10 in strength for the unarmed damage, 5 in perception, 5 in endurance, 1 in charisma because it is utterly useless in Fallout New Vegas, 6 in intelligence for better skill points, 3 in agility, and 10 in luck if I want to gamble, as well as the higher critical chance because that is my only damage buff early game. For our attack skills, I picked melee weapons because higher level unarmed perks require a melee weapon skill. Speech because it is literally broken in Fallout New Vegas, and unarmed for obvious reasons. First thing I do after walking outside of Doc Mitchell's house is get blinded by the sun. Then I drop these disgusting weapons he gave me. Before my eyes can recover, I get berated by DLC messages. From the doctor's house, I head up to the bar, as you do after getting shot in the head. Inside the bar, I meet Sunny and her dog Cheyenne. Sunny offers to give me a little tutorial behind the bar. Once behind the bar, Sunny decides to give me a weapon, and that makes me very angry. I immediately drop her new gift. She tells me to shoot down some sarsaparilla bottles with that weapon that she gave me. But I don't use weapons, so I punch them down. After returning to Sunny, this does not complete the tutorial quest, so I guess no tutorial for me. Straight out of the town of Good Springs, I found a camp belonging to some powder gangers. I was going to leave them alone, but I accidentally stepped on a landmine right outside their camp, killing one of them and injuring me severely. This made me angry, so I went up to the other surviving powder ganger and beat him to death. He actually went down way quicker than I expected, and I went to sleep in their bed. Because we all know sleeping for 1 hour heals all broken limbs from landmines. From the powder ganger camp, I head down through Prim. After receiving a warning from an NCR trooper, I continue down the road. Down the road, I steal the NCR's ammunition because you can't use weapons without your ammo. And I'm ridding the Mojave of those awful machines. Along the road, I find some bandits and decide to get rid of them with my fists. After taking the first one down, it's time to take down his friend. Both of them are quite squishy, and I decide to steal their clothes. With the new outfit acquired, I'm ready to head down to Nipton. On the way to Nipton, I am chased by way more ants than I'm comfortable with. Luckily, I am able to outrun them and make it to Nipton.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did!
The entrance to Nipton is guarded by 2 Legion banners. And in the town proper, we walk by some crucified powder gangers. At the town hall is a legionary named Vulpes, who is responsible for all the deaths at Nipton. On my way out of Nipton, I meet with some vipers and promptly beat them all to death. With the vipers in the ground, I level up for the first time in this run. And I dump all of the skill points into unarmed for some extra damage. I then take the confirmed bachelor perk for 10% more damage to males in combat. A vast majority of enemies in Fallout New Vegas are male, so it'll be pretty useful. I then began my trek to the town of Novak. After a short walk, I spot Dinky the T-Rex in the distance. On the way to Novak, I help Stepanak fall asleep and borrow his medicine. With the NCR down 1 man and some new medicine, I'm ready to head down to Novak. Unfortunately, a ranger must have heard our scuffle, so I had to fight once more on the way out. She was an easy fight, and I made sure to loot the body. And now we can finally head down to Novak. Inside Novak, there's a man named Ranger Andy, and he can teach you a unique unarmed attack. Unfortunately, I lack the speech skill to get the information off of him, so we'll have to come back here later. After a brief stop in Novak, I begin heading to Camp McCarran. And hopping over the hill, I can see both McCarran and Vegas. After finally reaching the camp, I head inside. Inside, I head for the monorail, but I'll need an NCR disguise to enter. I find Sergeant Contreras, and he has a NCR uniform for sale. I sell him all of my ammo to afford it. With my new disguise, I'm allowed in. I take the monorail to the Vegas Strip and head into the Tops Casino. Taking one look at Benny, the man who shot me for the inciting incident of this game, I get 1,000 XP. This is enough to get 2 levels, which I dump all into speech. I also choose the educated perk to get more skill points each level. With my new speech skill, I talk to Swank and convince him to let me see Benny alone. Benny and I then have a quick chat. We then begin fighting, and Benny gets quite a few shots off at me before falling to the ground. Our fight causes me to level up once more, and I fill up my unarmed stat. Exiting the Tops causes Volpez, the legionary from earlier, to show up and ask me to come see Caesar. An NCR trooper follows close behind and asks me to see Ambassador Crocker. Speaking to Crocker, he asks me to befriend the Boomers. On the way to Nellis, I find a star bottle cap.
Hello there.
After that, I walk towards the base. On the way, I level up once more and put my points into the medicine skill. I also take the Swift Learner perk. I then do various tasks for the Boomers, which all accumulate in me raising a bomber from the water. Doing this is enough to get the Boomers to work with me. I head back to Crocker and get the XP for the quest, and this makes me level up once again. I decide to put everything into the unarmed skill. Then I choose the Bloody Mess perk for more damage. Crocker then asks me to kill a man named Pacer. He wants me to do so in a way where the NCR cannot be implicated, but I can only use my fists, so that'll have to do. Pacer is probably the strongest enemy we face so far, but he goes down pretty easily. Crocker is upset that we weren't able to implicate someone else, but the quest still continues, and he sends us to Hoover Dam. We pass through Boulder City to go to Hoover Dam. Once there, I talk to Colonel Moore. She tells me to either enlist or kill the Great Khans. On the way to Red Rock Canyon, I meet up with some fiends and have to take them all out. I would avoid them, but today is not a pacifist run, so I want to do some fights. One of the fiend leaders, Driver Nephi, shows up, and I do decide to avoid him, because he's way stronger than I am right now. Unfortunately, he decides to give chase. I run to a nearby powder ganger camp right outside of Red Rock Canyon, and luckily they decide to take up arms against the fiends, while I take their bed and go to sleep. After sleeping for an hour, 2 fiends show up inside of the house, so I assume the powder gangers lost outside while I was sleeping. Luckily, they are both quite easy to take out. Heading outside, I find Driver Nephi at pretty low health around a bunch of dead powder gangers, so I decide to fight. Once he's taken out, I move on to his friend, who is quite a bit easier to take out than Driver Nephi was. I then remove Nephi's head to claim a bounty later on. Getting closer to Red Rock Canyon, a Deathclaw decides to show up and obliterate me. I decide to go back to the Deathclaw and kite him over to the powder gangers that helped me earlier. We make quick work of him, and I decide to head back to Red Rock Canyon. On the way, I meet up with quite a few Vipers and have to kill them all with my fist. The final 2 are actually quite strong, so it takes a little while to take them all out. Once they're dealt with, I can finally go up to Red Rock Canyon. After that, I talk to Papa Khan, the leader of the Great Khans, and he refuses to join the NCR. Outside of the tent, I talk with the second in command of the Great Khans. He tells me that if I can humiliate the legionary ambassador, then he'll consider breaking the truce with the Legion and telling Papa Khan to join up with the NCR. Sadly, I do not have the 75 speech skill to humiliate the ambassador. Rather than killing the Khans, I go around Vegas completing a bunch of side quests. After completing a couple quests, I'm able to level up once, but I need one more level up to get my speech skill all the way up. Because of this, I have to complete even more quests.
Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit.
Manure.
Goddamn time.
After spending way too much time on side quests, I finally level up and get the speech points that I need. I also take the finesse perk for better criticals. I head back to the cons to humiliate the ambassador, and they decide to pull their weapons on him and gun him down. This, however, does not complete the quest, so I go and grab Cassidy, and we go to kill them all. Each con was not particularly difficult. It was more of a quantity over quality thing, but eventually I was able to take all of them out. With my victory over the cons, I head back to Hoover Dam, and I'm told to go investigate the Omertas. After that, I walked onto the strip and went into the Gomorrah, speaking to a man named Kachino. He was not very cooperative until I stole his journal to blackmail him with. He told me to deal with a man named Clandon. Clandon is not a very good person, and I decide to put him down. After dealing with Clandon, Kachino tells us about his boss's plan to attack the strip. This simply cannot do, so we both go up to his bosses to assassinate them. With Nero down, Big Sal is next, and we have foiled the Omerta's plan. Once the Omertas are dealt with, I'm instructed to assassinate Mr. House, the owner of the strip. House is a decrepit 200-year-old man on life support, and puts up 0 fight. Killing House also helps me level up once more, and I bring my unarmed skill up to 100 and put everything else into melee weapons. I also take the piercing strike perk to ignore 15 points of damage threshold. Heading back to the dam, I am then instructed to kill the Brotherhood of Steel. The Brotherhood has extremely strong weapons and armor, so I'll have to deal with them carefully. At the Hidden Valley bunker, I begin beating Brotherhood members to death. And while condensed down to a few seconds for you guys, this literally took hours. But once the Brotherhood is dealt with, I head back to Hoover Dam. Here I am informed that the president of the NCR is visiting the dam, and I have to protect him from assassins. You'll know it when it happens is one of the greatest quests in the game to go into blind, so I'm not going to spoil the ending. I'll just leave it at I stopped the assassins, and the president was not assassinated. Completing this quest also leveled me up, and I finished off my speech skill with 100 and put everything else into melee weapons. Once I'm back inside Hoover Dam, I am informed that it is time for the final battle. Hordes of legionaries flood the dam, and I am able to show off my unarmed power. As I mentioned earlier, Fallout's speech skill is literally overpowered. I'm able to talk Legate Lanius, the final boss of this game, to just walk away. And with that, I head back to General Oliver and complete Fallout New Vegas without using a single weapon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and have a good one. Goodbye.